I'm Lindsey Kunisaki. I'm the 2024 Laura Zucker Fellow for Policy and Research with Arts for LA. I'm also the Research and Evaluation Specialist with the UCLA Visual and Performing Arts Education Program. Proposition 28 is the Arts and Music in Schools Funding Guarantee and Accountability Act. It's kind of a mouthful, so that's why we usually cut it down to just Prop 28. So Prop 28 is a historic investment in arts education, the largest investment in arts education in our country's history. It's bringing an estimated $1 billion of annual funding into arts education every year, year after year. Now, of course, there are some requirements on how those funds can be spent. So at least 80% of Prop 28 funds must be spent on people who are teaching the arts in our schools. Up to 20% of those funds can be used on things like materials, equipment, and partnerships with community arts providers. Up to 1% can also be spent on administrative costs. The other major requirement of Prop 28 is that they must be spent to supplement or increase arts education offerings, not just to supplant or replace what's already there. And that really gets at the fundamental goal of Prop 28. Which is to create more opportunities for arts education, more opportunities for the creative learning that we know is so important for our young people. So what I learned from the interviews with district arts leaders was that districts in LA County are in many different places with their Prop 28 plans. Some were able to take really rapid action and kind of hit the ground running with their Prop 28 plans. Others needed a little bit more time to address some other priorities that were going on in their districts. So some of the challenges and concerns that I heard had to do with essentially three things: finding people, finding time, and finding space for these expanded arts education programs. The first challenge that had to do with finding people was that some districts were having a hard time finding the arts teachers who could fill the roles that were being created by Prop 28 funds. The challenges of space and time came up when, even if districts could find an arts teacher, they didn't always have a place to put them. So finding a physical classroom and a time for them to teach the arts was a real challenge for some of the districts and something that they had to work through as they were bringing their Prop 28 plans to life. On the other hand, some of the strengths that helped these districts move really quickly had to do with the clarity of their strategic arts plans, so having a vision for where they wanted to go, having an arts advisory council of school leaders, teachers, parents, students, community partners who are all a part of that conversation, and then also having data. Arts education needs assessments on what the district already had, what they needed, and what gaps could be filled by the new resources that were coming in through Prop 28. So when thinking about the survey results, I think it's first important to understand who the survey respondents were. So we heard from 264 LA County residents who were ages 18 and older. They had many different kinds of connections with the arts, with arts education, and with schools. Many of them were in some kind of leadership position in schools, in districts, and with community arts providers. And I think that gives important context to what we learned from them and how they're perceiving Prop 28 from their perspective. So we know that there's been a lot of skepticism around how Prop 28 funds are being spent, whether schools are using it to replace existing arts education programs or whether they're using it to fulfill the goals of Prop 28, which is to increase arts education offerings. And what I found from the surveys was that respondents were way less likely to be skeptical of those Prop 28 decisions if they believed that the community was more involved in making those decisions. So if they believed that teachers, that community partners, that parents and guardians and students were more involved in the Prop 28 plans, they believed maybe there's a little bit more hope that we can fulfill the goal of Prop 28 and increase the arts education that's available in our schools. So from this research, I can offer a few recommendations. So one, for school districts, make sure that you have a strategic arts plan to guide your vision for Prop 28 and all of your other arts education programs. If you're a community member, get involved in the development of that strategic arts plan. The second recommendation I would offer is to strengthen capacity in school districts and within schools. So designate a district-wide arts leader who can lead these plans. And at the school site level, make sure that our school leaders have the information and resources that they need to make informed decisions about their Prop 28 funds. Next, I strongly recommend creating affordable pathways for our emerging arts teachers. So this might mean, for example, possibly subsidizing teacher credentialing programs so that we can get more of our creative experts into classrooms to share their knowledge with our young people. And finally, we know that transparency is a top priority for our schools and our community members. So creating a statewide accountability and advisory committee can be a really important way to connect what's going on at the local level to statewide compliance and action.